Yes, thank you, Sam Tripoli, and it's a pleasure to be back here at All Things Comedy, Punch Drunk Podcast, talking sports with Jason, Sam, Ari, and guests calling in. You got it.
Now,
I wish he could just do that for the whole podcast.
No, is there a screen? Do I look into a camera? Or do I
no, just look into there and talk to us.
Pretty much both.
Look into there. It's live right now over the internet.
We're live on YouTube.
We're live.
What are some of those sayings?
You got it.
Oh, what else?
Something called enjoy.
Yeah.
What else?
Positive push.
Hold on, did you drop the it? Enjoy it? It's just enjoy?
No, it's
got both.
Oh, I added enjoy it because enjoy came from Tempe, Arizona, the lady who worked at McDonald's, Wendy's, and Arby's. Enjoy. Then I added enjoy it, enjoy that, enjoy us. It became like a baseball. When you play on a baseball team, you always have
Little inside jokes
exactly,
and shit. Yeah,
and that's what
the camaraderie.
She was so into her job at McDonald's. I would go there. I was homesick on Sundays in 1988, and I'd read the LA Times.
Yeah.
I'd go to the Tempe, Arizona McDonald's, and I'd get the Big Mac combo, #1, which I still do.
That's still your go-to.
And she was typing it in, and then it came up, and she slid over the table. And she had a little bit of a hand issue, but
What do you mean?
you know what I'm saying.
It was clubbish?
She had no hands?
No, she had hands.
She had hands?
They were all melted together?
Were they like lobster hands?
No.
What about webbed hands?
No, but like a little...
Like one missing finger that
No,
looks
possible...
like got attacked by a dog?
Possible, like I don't want to say a stroke thing. Something was not right.
So she had like the weird...
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Sam got it.
Like, what would we say, the chicken wing?
Oh, now you look like Donald Trump making fun of that guy.
The chicken wing? I'm just trying to get our listeners
It was a
to know.
junior boneless chicken wing. Now, but when she slid that tray, but here's the deal. She slid the tray across, and I remember she just looked and she goes, enjoy. And I remember she was so...
She loved her job.
She loved her job. Let me tell you how much she loved her job. Because I went to...
Did she drool?
No, let's not keep it clean. Pull
Keep
it
That's
back.
clean.
We didn't have to go
That's
drool.
clean.
This is not
You
an
said
M&M
she had a
video.
stroke. You said she looked like she had a stroke.
Hold
Looked like a
on.
stroke.
But then you went to drool.
That's what I'm wondering.
Hold on. Then I go to Wendy's.
Yeah.
In Tempe, you know the Wendy's down the street,
Yeah.
the Tempe Improv right there
Yeah.
on Rural. I go
Yeah.
through the drive-through. I get a double. A double. And I say, now you can get a chocolate frosty, but back in the day, it used to just be frosty.
Yeah.
And I used to always go, I'd like a chocolate frosty.
Yeah,
I'd say it anyway.
the black
Just to get
frosty
mad.
people got upset that they didn't get
Really?
recognized. Yeah.
So I said, I'd like a chocolate frosty. And then I remember I went to the drive-through window, and then who pops out? Enjoy. She worked at
Chicken
Wendy's
wing.
also.
Now, what
Whoa!
Yes.
Maybe she had a twin.
I don't know.
Now, wait, did you
When was this? How long ago?
80?
This is 1988.
But
Yeah.
no, but when did you go back to Wendy's? In
When-
88?
Yeah, that was all my freshman year.
Have
Yes.
you gone back
That was the
since?
same day.
Well, she's not still there, I'm sure.
How do you
She's-
know?
This is 30 years later.
Go there.
And there's unconfirmed sighting of her in Arby's on Baseline in
You
Tempe.
stupid
I
son
went.
of a bitch.
I went to church on Sunday, non-denominational church. We overtook an industrial park, and I was
Who's
ready to-
we?
the guys on the baseball team, and it was a born again
What
Christian
would you guys
church.
do there? Just like pray together?
It was an actual church. Yeah, it was a born again church, and Anthony Manahan was our shortstop, and then Don was there, and he was a friend of ours.
Don.
I don't want to give it. Don Alex, good guy.
Okay.
So, but that was, Arizona is very Christian. It can be.
Sure.
But these were born again Christians. So it's kind of funny. Anthony, I remember
Zombie Christians.
a little bit of that, but Anthony, very good looking guy.
Thank you.
Tan, had a lot of sex, devious
Bisexual,
lifestyle.
maybe? A little bisexual?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
So then he changed his life around. He goes, I'm not doing that, and he stopped cursing, and he's still funny. He became a Christian. Then we went to this church, and they were healing, and it was just all about positive energy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where, to me, that's where some of the Christianity
So we're
comes.
getting like the early influences on Brody as a young man
I
in
would say college,
Arizona at Tempe, which is known as Cocaine University. Obviously, you didn't partake
Never
in
did
it,
it. Never
but you were
done it.
on the outside, and you had a friend, and you loved Christ, and you just got positive.
Yeah, Don would say,
I
turn
respect
a
the
negative
fuck
into a
of that.
positive.
I respect the shit out of that, dude.
He was my RA, and when I first met him in 1988, and he said, "Bro, let's turn a negative into a positive." Yeah, so we always had these little we would push each other. It's just fun. And then it would carry over to the baseball team because all the guys, and that's where the roots of that came in. And when we would get yelled at, you're in trouble. You're going to run. All right, you're going to make the pitchers run. So we're running and go, enjoy it. We love running. And then we'd be running because I was not good at running. So it was like, I didn't just, was all of a sudden this, I was always positive energy guy.
Yeah.
I became that, and I started to get better results.
I
and people
love
were
it.
Happier.
Positive energy is much better. Times a day do you beat off?
A day?
Yeah.
0.7.
Okay.
Okay, that's a
I
good.
respect
Okay.
that.
Now here's the deal. When I'm on Red Bull or 5 Hour Energy
Yeah.
or not on these heavy meds,
Yeah.
I feel I'm open up and I am more sexual. I am doing.
You getting horny?
I'm doing some afternoon jack sessions, very aggressive.
Who do you think about when you're doing afternoon jack sessions?
Somebody-
Is there any like comic we know, like a female comic, like you just want to go balls deep on?
I want to know about this very aggressive part that you just mentioned.
Just like, MMA, kettlebell.
Jesus Christmas.
Is that a kettlebell or my penis?
Wow.
Let's go. It's
Just
very.
yanking that thing
Are you
up.
worried about that? Because
Ah.
I heard like retarded kids jerk off. They're so strong. Sometimes they hurt their dicks.
Because Sam, you're on a mission. You're on
A mission to mercy.
You're on a mission to make your mark, and you have in stand-up, and there's more that you want to do. You're driven by stand-up. You want to leave a mark. You want to have a legacy.
Yeah.
So do I. I like walking into the comedy store and go, hey, that's Brody. This is because I put the time in. That's what I'm here for. That you can't explain it. It's not like, oh, I'm here for. You're here for that feel, and I know what it's like to not have that feel. I have that feel now. That's what I'm in for. Sure, you want girls, but that's not my main. I mean, if you ask me deep down, yeah, of course, it would strives us. But you pull back from that. I want the respect of comedy, and from what I learned growing up, is like you have to be completely dedicated to it.
Well, I know you're loved.
I do want to get into baseball. I wouldn't mind being, honestly, like a positive energy coach, a mental skills coach, because that's one reason why I went to Arizona State, because I knew I'd have access to all these coaches that were there for spring training, and Arizona State was kind of a hub for all that. So these guys who now, and there's only a handful of guys who really set the precedent for the mental skills you see in baseball. And these guys work with all the different major league teams. They all came out of Arizona State. So it's all about visualization, positive energy, hustle, belief, those kinds of basic stuff. But, team sports, I like baseball. I just like being around baseball. I get excited. There's nothing like whenever I see a baseball stadium, I get excited. Or same thing with any kind of stadium. I drive by the Rose Bowl. Every time I drive by the Rose Bowl on the way to the Ice House for a Death Squad Ice House Chronicles, I always look at the Rose Bowl. I need to see the Rose Bowl sign on the stadium. I drive by Dodger Stadium. I always have to look up and see the stadium, whether the lights are on or not. You could see the blue. Same thing with Anaheim.
College stadiums, pro stadiums, everything. If I'm in another city, I'm like, oh, that's Three Rivers Stadium.
Yeah,
oh,
this is
there's
where
fucking-
so much stuff took place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know I have that. I don't get that with comedy. I like comedy.
That's where
Don't get me
AJ
wrong.
Green works. Or whoever, whatever big star, whatever.
Just the
team
energy
has,
that
yeah.
I love the architecture. They hit just like get
Me
something
too.
about it. When you do the hot dog thing, are they frozen?
We can pick it.
Because
That's up to
that
us,
because
Brody.
that would numb the anal lips. That makes it easier, right?
It would.
What numbs the anal lips?
Did we just say anal lips on Punch Drunk?
I don't think you
The,
should
the
have
frozen
lips.
the frozen kielbasa. I mean,
to
I'm just
invent
thinking.
an organ.
What is going to happen
I'm
with
kinda
it? I wasn't,
spitballing here.
Trump and feminists are the same person.
All I know is what I learned playing baseball at Arizona State.
Did you play baseball?
We learned about positive energy and visualization and affirmation. Same thing that I learned playing baseball here in the San Fernando Valley in the 80s.
Well, that's a typical white male thing to say.
But we just won. We just won. We just believed, and I was around the Yankees. They won. And you know what you could do with the Yankees? You could party. You could do whatever you want. That's the thing, people, and until cell phones came out, but people don't understand. When you win and you are successful, people will look the other way and you can do stuff. But people want to complain, bring everybody down. Now, nobody gets to smoke pot. Nobody gets to go have sex with anything.
Dude, it's the remember I think it was Louis' joke, right? About his daughters, like one daughter broke the other one's toy. He's like, "Do you want a new one?" She's like, "No, break her toy."
Right.
That's the mentality. That way.
Yeah, I just and here's the other thing. I did get to hang out because my buddy was a coach of the Yankees, and I saw it back then, the Yankee dynasty, how it was like being in New York, how they appreciated guys who spoke their mind, put their balls out, And that's what the players today, you can't yell at these major leaguers. They're sensitive. You can't yell.
Who yells at them?
I mean, coaches, get your freaking
Why are
head in
you
the
yelling
game,
at
Kurt.
Why are you yelling at
I'm
Kurt?
not.
You're not allowed to raise your voice in comedy or in TV, but in sports, you see these coaches going crazy. If that happened in Hollywood on the sideline, they'd be thrown in a UCLA psych ward.
Can we all
for 17
I have
days?
A bet. I won't cover up a rape or help you move. Those are my 2 policies as a friend.
That's pretty solid.
Define covering up a rape. No, I don't know. I don't like to joke about this rape. So I keep it. And that's the thing. When I do my stand-up, I keep it positive. And
HIV positive?
HIV positive. Crowd. And that's the other thing. When you're in a comedy club or a room or what have you, they're not on social media. They're not on TV. You got them all together, and that's why comedy is popular, the live form, because the real stuff is coming out there. You're seeing the energy. You're not seeing the tweets. And crowd, look at the Comedy Store. It's the #1 club in the country,
in the world,
for a reason. People are drawn to seeing the truth. They're drawn to seeing the front lines of freedom of speach.
I want to see where Brody's allegiances are right now.
Okay.
Cubs, Dodgers. Cubs up 3-2.
Cubs
over Dodgers.
I'm a Cubs.
Wearing a Dodgers hat right now
because I support Los Angeles.
What?
This is a Los Angeles City hat. By the way, my friend is a coach. You're talking about friends. I'm loyal to my friends and family. So I go where my friend goes. In my heart, yeah, I'm a Dodger fan. I grew up here. I also like the Angels. But in relationships and reality and life and actual people reaching out and giving me access, I support the Cubs. Cubs they want me around. They request my energy. I mean, I got to be in the World Series parade. I got to suit up. And that's the other thing that I talk about with sports. When you bring energy, they like it. And when it helps with audience warm-up. I'm trying to bring energy to regular people. Give it a shot. Try to be positive a couple times. I don't want to sound all corny with The Secret, and it's easier said than done, but when I've done it, I've been able to do it. That's why, and I'm not bragging when I show me with the Cubs, or I'm not bragging when I show my name on the marquee. I'm just saying I visualized it, and I put out positive energy. Why not give it a shot?
Let
me just get this one thing. How I knew back when.
Yeah.
Knew what?
That lunch with Mike Mussina in Seattle. He said that the pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre from the Yankees, came out to the mound in Seattle to, talk to him. And he said, all I could think of is Brody is mechanics, because we would talk mechanics, get some, discussing mechanics. Mm-hmm. So I knew I kind of had
planted the seed.
I planted, but I didn't do it intentionally. Sure. But I saw that, hey, there is something about, the major league guys like that also. And because I was brought into that world, I had, unique access to see that. So that was planted a long time ago. I knew that. So I put that in the back pocket. And then, in 2000, I started working at Best Damn Sports Show. And I kind of, like I said, all kind of came together. But I had early signs. I go, you know what? I see it does work. And then I applied it to warm-up. So I was able to take that approach into
That's
TV
what people
shows
have
at
to
Chelsea.
understand. Dreams take time. Like this guy's we're talking about a diabolical plan that started in 1988. And look where he is, 2016.
Amazing. I wrote on
he
the
is
parade.
seeing the fruits of
matching
his
his beard and his hat.
What?
Matching his beard and his hat.
Yeah. Is there any part of you that's worried because the handicapped girl at the McDonald's started enjoy. Now that you're getting more famous, now that you helped the Cubs win the World Series, now that your
Are
name's...
you thinking Lobster Claus might show up and ask?
She's
for
not
I'm
lobster.
saying,
She's puppet
Are you
holder.
worried about this mongoloid Jim Henson
Oh, you know what?
sending you a cease and desist?
Henson is passed.
No,
She
Junior,
probably
his
has,
son.
too.
Oh, okay. I mean, it could.
I'm talking
Not at all.
about the parade, which was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I've never seen a city. No, I watched it on TV because I had to do my special that night. So I was about an hour away. But I watched the whole thing on TV. And 9.5 million people live in Chicago.
Okay.
5.5 million people were at this parade.
God
Now, if you take away jails, institutions, the elderly, old folks' homes,
people that had to work that day.
the few people that had to work that day, you're talking about pretty much the whole city showed up for this magical moment.
That's awesome.
And I'm there, and I'm watching. There's 22 buses. They drive right through from the stadium right through to what I know as Grant Park, Millennium Park it's called. And lo and behold, I'm looking at on Twitter and all this sort of stuff, and I see Brody's periscoping from the roof of one of the buses with the team. And you're driving through the city on the bus with the team, and you were part of this parade.
Bus.
You're on the bus with the trophy, true or false?
I have a photo. I have a photo with the trophy.
He's on the bus that had the trophy, driving through one of those double deckers, all the teams on top of the bus. Almost
Magical.
6 million people.
Yeah. It was
How
cool.
incredible must have that have been? How jealous I was. You have no.
And my
comprehension.
intention was not to make people jealous or gloat. It was to share.
I didn't take it that
How
way.
loud
I didn't
was
take
it?
it that way.
Like with the deafening cacophony of voices
Yeah, it was
and
loud.
cheering. Like no music going on or anything, just everybody just
Air horns.
amazing.
But it was down Lake Michigan, so it was like there was no place for the sound.
Beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
It's
This thing could have
sunny,
been freezing and raining.
62 degrees, sunny. It was perfect. It was a perfect day. A little bit of clouds, but perfect day.
Yeah, and I didn't. I just didn't have any idea. Well, I had an idea. If they won, I'd get a chance to be in the parade because after they won Game 5 to force a Game 6.
Yeah.
My friend who works for the team, I have other friends that work for the Cubs.
Sure.
So he says, come up to Murphy's Bleachers. That's like the unofficial Cubs bar behind, right there at Wrigley, right next to Wrigley Field. So I go there, and he's kind of drunk. It's because they won. They just wanted to win that. They wanted to send it back to Cleveland at least.
Right.
So they kind of celebrated that.
And that's
that
the first
win
World
night
Series
before.
game they've won in Wrigley Field in 108 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they
108
did.
years.
People did celebrate, and they just wanted to send it back to Cleveland.
Any violence or anything?
No, but there was Hillary for Prison shirt. I mean, big banner behind.
I don't see how that's relevant.
Well, that was like what they're saying. That's.
That was negative energy.
No, you know why?
Positive.
Because I did a podcast with did a podcast with Josh Wolf. Just came from that, and he talked about there was anti-Hillary stuff all over the place. And I said the only one I've seen is like Hillary for Prison, and they had that at the All-Star game. That was the only one I've seen. That's what we were just talking about at that other podcast, so I got confused.
Easy to do.
Yeah. Was I talking about?
You had an inkling that you might be
So I
invited
go.
to be in
I say. He says, "Come up." He texted me. He says, "Come up to the bar." I said, "Okay." I happened to be out, putting the energy out. I said, "I'll take the train." And he goes, "Hurry up!" Then Uber was actually half the quicker. So I took Uber. I get to the bar. He's kind of drunk. I'm drinking. And he's talking to his buddy, and he says, "You know what? We're gonna go to Cleveland. We're gonna win Game 6. We're gonna win Game 7, and you're gonna be on the parade."
Whoa.
Yes. You're going to be on. So he told me. Now he's a little buzzed in the afternoon, but I'm thinking, okay. So then the night before, I thought about maybe going to Cleveland. I said, I can do it.
Yeah.
I don't fly out. I can do it. I got it. And then Berzello, he said, come out there. You come to Cleveland. So I knew I would have a ticket, and that's when I drove. I got the free room. So I did that. And then even after Game 6, I mean, I'm there to win. I knew I could have partied with Bill Murray and Eddie Vedder. Looking back on it, I could have a couple times, but I was so locked in to the coaching, the inner workings of what goes on behind the scenes that people have no idea
love
what
that.
goes on.
I love that.
But it honestly took somebody with blue collar. Chicago. I went to the game, Game 4. And the Cubs were up 1-0, and then the Indians came back, tied it. Crowd went quiet, and then because they were cheering after every second strike, get up and cheer. And then when the Indians tied it, crowd got quiet. And
In
then
Cleveland?
No, in Chicago. And then when they hit the home run and went up 2-1, the crowd was dead. The crowd was dead, and they ended up losing the game. The crowd was dead, and it was probably because everyone's bringing their family there. They're expensive tickets. I was there. I've been to Yankee games. You got to cheer for these playoffs. You're up the whole time. Red Sox fans are up. The Cubs are like, they quit. They got not the fans. They got scared. It was like dead. And I go, they're supposed. I put that out. I go, you got to bring more energy because it brought down. So the next game, backs against the wall. They won Game 5, and then. But I sense that's how you were talking about the bar. How everyone was freaking out. Same thing was happening I was at the game when the home run happened. Yeah. So I felt it, the energy right there at the pulse of everything. I was around Indian fans exploding violently when they tied that game. And I did right. I mean, it was insane. The vendors, the food workers, everyone was up going crazy, running around. Cub fans are like stunned and shocked. And I was thinking the same thing. Uh-oh. But I had to stay the course. And it meant me bouncing around to the bullpen, seeing the guys out there, going to a different view, not being up in the section that I was in with strangers high-fiving and being around their stress and negative energy. So that home run happened. And then I went. They didn't score in the ninth inning.
No,
so I felt like the 10th or whatever inning they didn't score.
Ninth.
And I go, the Indians are good. I felt like they're gonna win. I don't know. And then that rain delay happened. But
how much of that do you think helped?
a lot, because Jason Hayward was able to talk the team and kind of put them together. I saw in spring training in the last 2 years, Joe Madden is a positive guy. He's in terms of like letting you be you. Whatever relaxes you, as long as we respect the game, show up on time. And I'm not going to make you show up early. You show up like 2 hours. He treats it like it's Sunday baseball. So that's why he gets the most out of these guys. And then you tie in the coaches. The coaches actually doing the scouting. You know, I was around these pitchers who turn their seasons around based off stuff that the coaches give. And I saw that firsthand. People don't know. And I saw the results of that, and I saw the results of just being, focusing on getting the work done and believing. Bottom line is they won, and I feel like definitely lifted them up in some way. I came back here. I played baseball, and I took that acting class at my final semester at ASU, and it was like, I got bit with the creative bug. I mean, I had it in me, but I was so done with baseball, I didn't want to be involved in. I was kind of like the jock humor. I was out of my system. It was annoying. I got it. I get it. Playing at ASU was like, back then, 88 to 93 was like a major league team. This was before the Diamondbacks, and everyone, focused on ASU baseball there, a lot of them. So and you had to act and be professional. So it was like I went through it, and I was kind of, I got it. The jock humor, the locker rooms, intellectual wasteland. And then when I did that acting class, it was just so much fun. And I wasn't trying to be funny. I was trying to be serious. Okay, maybe I could be an actor. And then people would laugh at me or whatever. And I did a couple.
What would they laugh at?
Just me trying to be serious or read my lines. So I would get.
That's kind of sad.
Why?
Yeah, it hurts. So you're laughing now. It hurts my feelings.
Why would they laugh though? I mean, were you
I don't know.
Stammering or?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I never did stand up. I was a baseball player. I struck out 35 batters in 28 innings. I never did anything creative. I never played drums. I mean, I did some goofy stuff in high school or not even high school. I think like in elementary school, goofing around. But I never did anything creative because I was insecure, self-esteem. I mean, even to this day.
Me too.
But doing podcasts is perfect for me, and because you don't have to worry about what you're looking like.
You kind of hide in the shadows. Edit it if you have to edit it.
Whatever. Yeah. So, but sports, I didn't get that opportunity really to to hide necessarily. But so you do
There's also a thing with sports where you also you can kind of hide in the team, There's such a sense of camaraderie where you just saying like how stand-up or performing or any kind of stuff like that, it really is just you. No one's giving you a pep talk.
No.
Unless I get the secret key and then I can come talk to Brody, pep me up a little bit.
Yeah, just something about being on a team, being with different personalities, and like, being a pitcher, you're in a bullpen, you spend a lot of time training. It is like pitchers versus hitters, and, football's like offense and defense. You just learn about group mentality and male behavior, and again, like when you're at Arizona State, you're traveling and you're being, you couldn't mess up. Things would be in the newspaper. And then you had this hard-ass coach, and you had to go to class. There was they knew what was going on for the most part. So, but for me, it was just like learning mental strength and visualization and getting the most out of, what you could do.
So you started taking acting classes in Seattle?
No, I did. Well, I did the one acting class at ASU. So then... And then one of the guys said, Brody, you should do stand-up. You're funny. And I never even considered doing stand-up. And I said, oh, maybe I will. And I looked into it. I started writing some jokes like my last year at ASU. But
do you remember any of those?
Same ones I do today.
Really?
Good looking. Done a lot of modeling in Pakistan. My mother's an Uber driver. I wrote that back in '89.
Uber didn't even exist.
Well, I had a feeling because I said I know about this Remember the podcasting?
Yep.
Time
Positive.
dimensions.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. No, I did the. So yeah, I graduated and I didn't do any stand up. I never went to the Tempe Improv. Never did an open mic. I saw Pauly Shore do stand up twice on campus, and I liked him. I went to another show at a place called At the Gold Rush.
Dude, I heard you like to pitch, bro.
Yeah. So I saw Pauly. It was cool. And everyone liked Andrew Dice Clay. Like, we got a kick out of that watching him. But I came back to when I came back to L.A., this was in the summer of '93 because I graduated. I just wanted to learn everything about show business. I said, if I'm going to go into it, I got to learn everything about it. But it's hard to say. Like, you put all this time into baseball, 12 years or whatever it was into baseball, and then all of a sudden,
And an education,
which I got half of it paid for through scholarships and all that. But it was like hard to say, I'm going to do comedy. Like, you never said you were going to. You're not funny. I mean, to this day, my mom still doesn't think I'm funny. You know. So, and I was always intimidated by my dad. I never really tried to be funny in front of my dad. So I had a lot of this, didn't have the confidence to let it out. But my friends and I was myself, oh, Brody, you're funny. So I knew I had something there, but I just couldn't go and say, I'm going to do that. But because my mom was into education, I said, well, I'll take a stand-up comedy class. So I took the stand-up comedy class at the UCLA. So Pauly Shore's sister, she taught at Sandy Seashore.
Sandy.
And I knew.
She still teaches those.
I think so, yeah. I'm a guest instructor. No. But but it was at UCLA. It gave me foundation and structure. Coming from baseball, I knew, like, okay, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, UCLA, I'm going to do my 2-minute stand-up. And then the graduating class, 12 weeks later, whatever, is going to be at the Comedy Store. So I had my Comedy Store notebook, and I knew taking this workshop, because it was affiliated with the Comedy Store, was my way into the Comedy Store. I was a Comedy Store guy since the 80s. As a kid, my mom dated Jack, that was her boyfriend, and he lived over on Alta Loma. I'd always see the lights of the Comedy Store. This is in the 80s. I knew something was going on there. I just didn't know what exactly, but I could feel that energy as a kid. And then when I did the workshop at UCLA, every night after the class, I'd do the 2 minutes, and I wouldn't really get laughs unless they would laugh. Excuse me. Phlegm. Again, they would laugh at me making fun of getting mad at myself.
Was it little things like that you would do?
Probably, I don't know. But that's what was happening, and it was like, God, my joke. They would laugh when I would get mad. So same kind of thing that would happen in the acting class. But after every class, I talked to Sandy. We'd talk about comedy, making it visual. That was her thing, make it visual. And I would always drive to the Comedy Store, and I'd drive by this is in '93, so I'd drive by the Comedy Store, and I go, one day maybe I'll get in there. I never went in. I would just drive by and feel the energy of it. And then we had the graduating class, and I did well at the Comedy Store. My first time on stage outside of any kind of auditorium or whatever was at the Comedy Store.
In Belly?
No, in the OR. It was packed. It was July of '93, and it was a bringer show pretty much. A lot of bringer people, I think. It was a class, but it was packed in there, and I got business cards. Like, hey, you have a commercial, this and that, commercial agent? So I really felt like a comedian. I can see how these guys feel when they do one bringer show at the Comedy Store. They're like a comedian. That's how I felt.
Sure.
So I said...
It's almost a trick.
Yeah, and I fell for it.
So did I.
And I did I said, well, now I got to go do open mics. So I went out with my friend, another guy from the workshop who later went on to be a writer with The Simpsons and some other stuff. J. Stewart Burns. He's done some stuff. But we went out to Chatsworth to a bar and did our first open mic. And I went up, and it was like doing the same jokes I did the night before.
That murdered in front of all your friends and family.
Exactly. Not getting laughs, but more. And I got it, and then more, but the host, like, just, oh, it's an open mic, this guy, whatever, here he is, all right, whatever. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going this route. I'm just, me personally, I'm from the Valley. I'm not going to do shows in my neighborhood and have some host, MC, not that he was making me feel better, that's just the way it was. I'm just not going to have that happen in my neighborhood. I won't take it. So I said, not doing the open mics. I knew right away. So I went and took a business of comedy class. I wanted to learn more about comedy. Just because I'm not going to do open mics, why should I be shut out? So I studied. And again, telling my mom it was class, it made it more palatable to her. Oh, he's going to UCLA. He's learning comedy. So I took the business, and he said, Danny Robinson, who was an APA agent, he said, if you want to do stand-up, you got to leave L.A. Get out of L.A., go to a smaller city. And that's kind of what put it in my head to, go to a Seattle, go back to a Phoenix. And I just started researching. I know you're letting me tell my life story, and I appreciate that.
No, I'm curious about that.
But, a lot of it just...
Then you went to Seattle, and then you just started doing, more booked gigs, or you're doing stand-up up there?
Open mics. Mm-hmm. I took stand-up comedy. My approach the same way I did, baseball. Just got to be there, show your face. So I started doing all the open mics at Comedy Underground. That's where I met Josh Wolf and Joey Diaz and Craig Gass. And, Mitch Hedberg was up there right at the beginning. We would see him around. So that was just Seattle had so many great comedians.
I feel the same way about Chicago. Yeah, take a drink. I feel the same way about... And for me, it was almost the opposite, because I actually started in a small place and then came here. I started in college when I was in Indiana. Then I went to Chicago. Then I came here. So I'd already done it for, 3 or 4 years by the time I got to L.A.
Yeah, I Seattle, I just never had the urge to do stand-up in Phoenix. So I was going to say, why go back to Phoenix? And I was, I was working at Macy's out in Topanga, and I was just kind of spinning my wheels. I just felt like I didn't have that support system, and I knew what was ahead of me. So I said, I can't do it here. You got to just get out of L.A. and become the best comedian performer you can. And I had family up in Seattle, and they said, why don't you come up here? They support the arts, and that's where I jumped in. To doing the shows at the Comedy Underground, doing cable access. Then I got an internship because I still like sports. But I got an internship at Cairo Sports, a CBS News in Seattle, and I would go down to the Seattle Mariner games and get sound bites after the game with Edgar Martinez, Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., Lou Piniella, stick my mic in, and I did my I would do I was an intern. I wanted to learn, but I felt like my strength still was stand-up comedy. Me trying to be a sportscaster was not the right fit. I wasn't being myself necessarily. Yeah. I was too nervous. So doing stand-up freed me up a little bit, but also my cable access show that I did with my friend Tana. We did a live show. It was like this, live and crazy. Mm-hmm. But we were in Seattle. It was cable access. And you do the show, you're in studio. You don't know what's funny or what's not. You're just having fun. But I would be on the...
Yeah, because no one's laughing right there.
Exactly.
You don't get the actual feedback.
Right. Mm-hmm. You don't get it. And then I'd walk on the streets of Seattle. Hey, Brody, Jews and Samoans rule the world. And I was getting recognized in Seattle 3 to 5 times a day because there were only 40 TV channels, if that. And we were on Channel 29, and we would be on at 8:30 or 11:30, and people were flipping. They would see you. So I was constantly I was getting recognized. So I knew, what I was doing, being myself, people liked. I knew there was something there. And then also I sold T-shirts for the Seattle Supersonics. That's another thing. I would call into sports talk radio all the time. That's my
bet
time.
You did.
Yeah. I would call into T-Man. I called into Mitch in the morning, and my whole thing was...
I bet you did.
I would take shots at Seattle. I'm from L.A. We care about our teams. We push. And that was my angle, but they would always put me on.
Sure.
And I got, it's stage time. So that's what I tell these guys. You got to find, even if it's waiting tables,
dude,
you're talking.
That's why I like doing, a lot of times, I'd be hanging out at the Comedy Store late night, but, screwing around with Don in the back and all that is stage time. You know what I mean? It's those other little nuances where you can find the opportunity to make something funny. Doesn't even have to be about you. It could just be chiming in with a good zinger or something like that. But when you're not on stage, how can you be still working on your craft somehow?
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. The Comedy Store. And I was thinking...
Practicing the art of being funny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking that the Comedy Store is like UCB. It's it's a comedy school. It's a comedy gymnasium. If you want to just
prison, but
if you want to just do comedy, it's Don Barris. You can always play around with Don. Yeah. we're like up and down, Don and I. You know,
I haven't noticed.
but I'm back in with Don because you know what? It's fun to play, and to not be a part of it, you feel like you're out an outcast.
Yeah, you do.
And it's not fun. And then when you get in, you go, "This is fun," and it also does make you a better performer. So you have a great attitude and you're the right approach about it. You know, taking advantage. That's why they have roast battle. They have Kill Tony. They have late night. We have the music. You have the back lot. There's so many. You got to take it. Then you have podcasts. And so when people talk about, I can't get this, I go, are you podcasting? I know it sounds silly, but you got to do it just to do it. What are you doing on the social media? Just to get a little bit of that creativity out. Because stage time is really hard to come by here in Los Angeles. And
especially that club now.
And then on top of it, quality stage time. We were talking the other night about comedy clubs, how Flappers out here in Burbank, people don't really.
I don't like that club.
No, well there you go. That's what we were talking about. And I said,
but it's not because it's Burbank or in the Valley.
But here's my theory. It could be, because here's the other thing. Just because all the shows are out here, all the production offices, a lot of the there's always shoots going on here in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at night you don't want to be here for comedy. You work here all day. That's why there's not a lot of nightlife in the Valley, because they're working here in the Valley using our positive energy to be creative, to get your TV shows done that you crap on the Valley about. But you come out here and use our positive energy because we get it. And then at night you want to go back to Hollywood or go back to the West Side or go to Manhattan Beach.
Well, if you live on the West Side, you ain't going to the Valley, and you ain't going to Burbank, and you ain't going to Pasadena.
I come here from the West Side, that's why I'm always late.
It's just a long haul.
It is.
Look what coming here got you.
I'm just saying, like, I've
late.
been listening to a lot of Tinfoil lately and hanging out with Sam, so he kind of appreciates these thoughts. But there's just some truth to that.
When you're on the road with Sam and you're in the car, is he making you listen to his podcast?
That'd be awful.
No. Sam is the only my complaint about Sam with the driving is like too much on the brake. It's like when you're in the car with Sam, you're like you're inside Sam. You're like, it's like Tron. You're in him. So
that's perfect.
The car.
Him and Johnny. Johnny works for the show. Yeah, you've seen him around. Good guy. And so anytime like Sam and Johnny and I will hang out, or when we drove to Phoenix together for the All Things Comedy Podcast Festival, or go to a Clipper game or whatever we do together, Johnny's like, dude, I literally will get car sick. You have to let me drive, or I'll drive separately. And he's like, bro, it's stupid to take two cars. He's like, dude, I will throw up in your car because you hit the brakes too much.
Yeah,
bro,
that's all he does.
You're too sensitive, bro.
It's constant brakes.
You're too sensitive.
Checking the phone, constant
I
brakes.
think it's a lot to do with the phone. Like, he just won't get off his phone.
Yeah, because I call it his office when he's in there, because that's when he's on his phone the most, is when he's driving. I saw him one time. We were going to a Clipper game. I was in the back seat. Johnny's in the front seat because Johnny can't sit in the back seat or he'll get car sick because he doesn't like Sam's irky jerky thing. I'm looking over, because I'm in the back. I can see that Sam Tripoli, who is driving, he is the one driving, is making a flyer for for a comedy show coming up.
Making a flyer,
adding filters to it. You know what I mean, like stuff like that. And I was like, we're driving downtown Los Angeles, heading to the Staples Center, and you're in the middle of making a flyer with all these one-way streets go. You know how downtown is. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. The guy's productive.
Yeah, he is productive. He got me there. I did not feel. I mean, when we left Austin. Well, first of all, going there, he was. He made it, but he had some issues.
Did you guys
with the
fly there and then rent a car and then drive everywhere?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
So the flight there, Sam. He made it, but he was a little delayed on something. I made it. We were supposed to be on the same flight. We weren't, because that just wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little mistake there, but he made it, no problem. And then got into all the Airbnbs, no problem. And then leaving, the line was super long. He had a check on a bag, but he got in. So, there was a couple times where I thought, this ain't going to happen. Like, he's not going to make the show, or he's not going to make this flight, and he made it. And the driving, it's like, at least he admits it. He goes, yeah, I pressed the pedal.
Yeah,
I had a
great
time. And hopefully I didn't say anything that was like, I don't want to be in trouble.
at
for
the end of
You
the
didn't
day,
say anything.
we love everybody
And we got to
here.
know a little bit about you. I didn't know you had a whole baseball thing in your background.
There you go. You thought I was a water polo guy. It's in my blood.
Final thought, one sentence, wrap it up, Brody.
I enjoyed what took place here today, thankful for the opportunity, see you next time?
There you go.
Okay, see you next time.
You're always
Period.
welcome to be on this show.
No, I'm not family.
Final